Hello, everyone. We seem to be live. Hello, everyone. I'm just looking for Jayme, who's going to be joining us. Hi, Jayme. I see your request. I'm viewing it. Hi, Frank. Hi, Brian. I think Jayme. Hi, Jayme.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hi, everyone.
I'm
As you're
excited to
coming
talk all
on,
things voiceover.
excuse me?
I'm excited to talk all things voiceover.
I bet you are, since you love and adore voiceovers. So Jayme is my VA, virtual assistant, and a voiceover artist herself. So she's perfect to be on this call with you because she knows what it's like to move up in the ranks. And it looks like people are on. I see lots of hearts. Do you think I should start yet, Jayme?
Yeah,
I
think
see
we're
how
getting
many
a lot of people. We've got about 57 with us right now and more joining all the time. Hi, Amber.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting because I can't see the numbers. You'll have to teach me how to do that. I just can't see the numbers. So the reason I wanted to do this is to connect with all of you and have you be able to ask questions, because there are so many voiceover breakdowns. I mean, even agents who aren't actually voiceover agents can call themselves voiceover agents now, because they receive the breakdowns that are put out over the traditional breakdown services. But someone like myself who will put out a voiceover will not put it on the traditional breakdown services, because there are voiceover agents who for years have just been voiceover agents and have been establishing relationships with casting directors and production companies and promo houses through insulated voiceover, specialized voiceover, one specialized voiceover breakdown service, which doesn't exist anymore. So everything got blown up. Now myself, I started out right after college in New York City, and I got into casting, being a casting assistant, and I was at an ad agency. So I, from the very beginning, always cast the on-camera and then the voiceover. So I'm one of the few people around who is actually besides an on-camera casting director, actually a voiceover casting director. So what I want to cover today is how do you even get into it? And we'll cover that, I'm sure, by answering a lot of your questions. But I just want to give you a path, the basic skeleton path. First of all, you have to have an interest in it. And a lot of people do now because they see all the breakdowns and you want to be eligible for all these breakdowns. The second thing is you want an overview and you want to learn the very, very core basic foundation of how to do that. And while you're doing that, you will also discover whether you actually like it or not. And you will start discovering strengths that you have. And then from there, when you know, and that shouldn't be a big expensive investment or take a very long period of time. Then the next thing is, when you decide that you like it and you have strong basics, is you want to take a more comprehensive class series where you really get into it and learn what transitions are and basically learn how to use your voice to give the emotional feel that the spot is asking for. And you want to learn your voice print, which is your strongest voiceover personality. And you want to have a demo made. And then you want to, there are ways that you can go after voiceover work independently without an agent. And then you definitely want to get an agent. And then sometimes the first agent you have is not the agent that you'll end up with. And so that's the big overview. Being a voiceover artist, Jayme, and going through this yourself, is there anything in the overall skeleton view that you feel I missed and that, you know, everyone with us should know?
Yeah. Great question. Well, I think you really did cover the basics of what it takes to get into voiceover, because first and foremost, you have to be in it because you have an interest or a passion, or you're at least curious about trying it. Because if you're just in it for a get rich quick scheme, you see those things all the time online, then that's not really the best way to go about it. You know, if you want to do it, you have to invest in it and take classes and grow and practice with scripts, listen to commercials or animation or whatever it is that you're interested in voiceover, and start training your ear to see what the current trends are and how those people are doing it. And that's free education in addition to the classes and everything that you're taking. I think one thing that you went over that I do want to emphasize that I hear from a lot of people who are just getting started into voiceover, a lot of people ask, oh, do I need to have top of the line microphone and home studio equipment and all this professional quality to get started in voiceover? So I know your answer, but I'd love if you could just expand on that a little bit for people.
The answer is no. You can do it with a couple of $100, maybe the whole thing for $700, wouldn't you say, Jayme?
Oh yeah,
maybe even less.
Yeah, you can do it for a lot less. Mm-hmm.
So all voiceovers, that brings up the point that all voiceover auditions are virtual online. You answer the breakdown. You at home do your home read audition. You send it to the casting director or the agent or whoever has asked for it. And there's usually no callbacks in voiceover. Sometimes there are. Sometimes we work on very complex animated commercials where they want to hear and see the two people working together. So we even do that over Zoom. And then your final record is, if you're in the local area where there is a studio, for instance, when we cast for our clients who are in LA, if you live in LA, you can come to the studio or do it from home. If you're at that point where you're doing it from home, you definitely need final quality recording, soundproofing, and a good mic. And the great thing is for voiceover, it's not like on camera. You can do it from any place and record for any clients anywhere. But at that point, you do need the good final quality. And that doesn't even have to cost you over $1,200, really, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's answer some questions. We got some.
We got some earlier. Thank you for everybody who sent us and posted some ahead of time and sent them to us to answer. The first question that was sent to us is, for you as a casting director, do you value more pristine audio quality or the performance quality when you're listening to your reads, or both?
It's really both, because the competition is so fierce, and it comes down to, we have to as casting director, we have to keep whittling down because we can't, you know, I could receive 500 submissions, but my client will only want to listen to 30 of them. So if your quality isn't good when it comes down to the very end of whittling it down, all right, so, you know, I'll choose someone who has the better quality. And it kind of shows if it's good quality, that you're ready to work and you know what you're doing and you know enough that you know you need good quality. So would I call that pristine? With these mics that we've mentioned that you can buy that aren't expensive, you can get really, really good, pristine quality. So you don't have to worry about that. So you do want to aim for good quality if you're really in it, you know, for the long
Absolutely. I
run.
would also say too, to anyone who's unsure about the quality of their recording space, you can always reach out to an audio engineer or George Whittam, people like that, who can set up appointments with you to test the sound quality of your space to see if it's that broadcast quality or not, and then give you some tips on what you could do to help get it to that quality as well. Great. So another question we received is, could you elaborate a little bit more on what a voice print is, since that's something we reference in our workshops a lot?
Oh, yes. And the name of the company we do this under is Voice Print West. The voice print, it's like a fingerprint, a footprint. It's your voice personality. And some people are naturally bright and perky, and they might have a higher register voice. So they could not, if their voice is extremely high register, they couldn't necessarily also do the sultry. So when you get to know your voice print, you get to know the voice character, your strong voice characteristics. I have to do a plug here because we do have a core Kickstart workshop coming up, which is, we designed it, Nick Omana and I teach it, and we designed it not to be long and drawn out, but it is so comprehensive. There's this book, a workbook chock full of pages of information that we go over with you, and that starts next Wednesday, January 18th, is it? Yeah. And the www.voiceprintwest.com. The reason I'm mentioning this now is because then we get into a more advanced workshop, which is you find out your branding. So when you hear the word branding, that is your voice print. You could hear, you know, what's your brand, what's your voice print, what's your voice personality. So that's what voice print refers to.
Amazing. Great. And similarly, I was wondering, because this is something that's come up for us in our voiceover castings we've done a lot. What do you think is the difference between a more nuanced read versus a more broad read when we're going through submissions that helps them stand out more when you have to cull them down?
Well, if it's radio, it's a broader read. If it's TV, it's a more subtle, nuanced read because you are actually supporting the picture, and the picture is the principal character and your voice is a supporting character. So that would be very nuanced. And I would say that it's not, I wouldn't define a better booking audition in subtle or broader. Either way, you have to connect. You have to connect to the message. So you have to learn how to do that. Connecting. And you can connect subtly and you can connect broadly too, but you must connect. Those of you out there who are actors, and I recognize a lot of the names, you know what I mean by connecting. Absolutely. I think most of our followers are actors, so we're speaking the same language.
Excellent. So switching a little bit to maybe less of the practicing voiceover and more of the business side for people who are early on in their voiceover careers and trying to grow and move through the industry. What, and I know it's your answer specifically, it's not for every casting director, but what is a good way you would recommend for newer voiceover actors to build relationships with casting, be it particular directors or offices or things like that?
Whoa, that's a hard one. Just being out there and doing it. I really believe in the law of attraction. Things will come up. Things will manifest itself. You know, you want to have a good, well, definitely social media. So once you have your, if you just had a reel produced and you put it, for instance, on Instagram, and I'll see it, or if you've booked a job, we do have an email that you could mail your your demos to. I mean, I see things on social media a lot. Definitely, if you have an agent, you still have to promote yourself, but you don't have to worry about it as much. I know Jayme does some social media like TikTok challenges and things. As a casting director, that would be my knee-jerk reaction answer.
Definitely. I totally agree with all of that. And like Terry said, social media is a great way. There are several voiceover casting directors I know who are active on social media. You just need to do a little research to see if they're more active on Twitter or more active on Instagram, and engage with them in an organic way there. And then, you know, sometimes people will hold certain workshops that they do on their websites, things like that. So be on the lookout for that. And that's a good way to build relationships with casting as well.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I teach,
yeah.
you know, the core you can jump into, get going. Like I have a home read and self-direct, which is very, very, very advanced. We really get into the nuances of what, you know, how you stand out. Like that's for people who are out there, they're pros already and they just want to book more, or they need sharpening up. But I would hope, and I have to say, I know that the people who are taking it with me, yes, they want to meet me. Yes, they want their work in front of me, but they're not taking it because of that. They're taking it because they really know that they can learn something. And Jayme and I get emails all the time about, you know, how it's changed their reads and their auditions and their booking rate and just their confidence. So I totally agree with Jayme. You should know who the players are and get to know them organically. But also, if you take something from them, you know, hopefully it's not just to meet them.
For sure. And that answer actually is a really great suggestion for other people too who are already working. If you've been auditioning a lot and you're not booking, you know, as a voiceover actor, that's something that we discuss in our forums a lot. It's like, oh man, I've been auditioning a lot and not booking, getting any callbacks. What are some things that I can do to work on that and see? And of course, taking something that's like your home reads that you offer, or some kind of tune-up or session, would be a great way to do that. Do you have any other ways that you recommend, or any other things you recommend for voice actors to do or work on for themselves if they have gone a stretch without booking?
It's interesting you just mentioned forums, and that includes workout groups. Mm-hmm. That reminds me to mention that be with other actors, be on Facebook groups with them. You know, you're gonna get, especially in the beginning, we get emails all the time, people who graduate from us that someone they knew. They got a job from someone they knew, because other people you're with have friends who are producing things that need voiceover. So that's what I mean. It kind of starts happening organically, and opportunities will show up that never showed up before. It's, that law of attraction.
Yes, I so agree with that so hard, because for me, I've been a part of different workout groups and I have different voiceover communities I'm a part of. Shout out to everyone from my Discord group who's on this right now. I can see you guys. It's really helpful, whether it's, on Clubhouse or on a Discord or in the Twitter,
Yeah.
TikTok, any of those communities, or even in person or virtual workout groups. It's so helpful having those people, because then, like Terry said, they could maybe refer you for things. You never know who's talking about you in other rooms. You guys can get together and work on scripts or create fun content and things together, answer questions and be there for each other. Having a support group is crucial.
Yeah. Thanks, Dean Feldman from Atlanta.
Yeah. Shout out,
Dean's
Dean.
a working actor in Atlanta. He works in film and television and commercials and voiceover. I love this because it doesn't matter where we live. We're together here.
I know, right? So somebody else in here asked, for people who are beginners getting into voiceover, they were wondering, should you put everything you can do in various voiceover genres onto one demo, or should you have separate demos, one for commercial, one for narrations, things like that? And what would you recommend the average length of a demo should be?
A demo is really not more than a teeny bit over a minute, maybe a minute and a half. And you separate them, because if I'm looking for comedy, someone with a lot of personality in their voice, I would click on that demo. If I'm looking for narration, I would click on that demo. So you want to make it easy for the person who's casting this to go very, very easily, without a lot of time, straight to what they're looking for. If you do a lot of different accents, you can have one demo with all your different accents. And if you get into saying you're able to do multiple things like that, you need to do them flawlessly. Otherwise you'll ruin your reputation.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Totally agree. And I also would not recommend trying to produce a demo yourself. You definitely want to get it professionally produced.
Hi, Kevin.
I know we said someone here said their dad was an audio engineer earlier. So shout out to all the audio engineers who make us voice actors and casting directors and everybody's lives go so much smoother.
Yes. That remark just reminded me of something, though. You don't want to over edit or have your demo, especially your first one, over edited so you sound like you're doing something that you really can't do. Mm-hmm. You need to really truthfully be able to bring it in. It won't do you any good to have someone over edit it and then you're called in for an audition, and God forbid you also over edit your audition, and then you get booked and you can't come through with the booking. You won't have a career that way. And you've heard this so many times. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you want to be in it for the long run and give yourself time to develop and breathe and grow. And we all need that in everything. So you'll have opportunities for you and a kind of demo for the first demo and when you first start, and then as you grow. We're all like that in everything. I mean, even my teaching, that's what makes us all keep interested in what we're doing. we like get revived because, oh, we discovered something else and we get better at it. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wave,
I totally agree with
wave.
that. Hello, everybody. Hi. For anybody who's just now joining us, we've been discussing all things voiceover. If anybody has any additional questions as we're going through this, feel free to pop them in the chat and I'll take a look and address those. So another question that we had, and, you know, again, only speaking for yourself here, but if people they have a demo, they've been training, they're doing all the stuff, and they've been sending out and submitting stuff to agencies and different things and not hearing back from anybody yet, and they're getting a little maybe discouraged or frustrated, be it, you know, a mindfulness tip or anything practical that you have, what would you recommend or say to those actors as a piece of advice if they haven't heard back yet, but they're still putting themselves out there?
You have to keep yourself thinking positive. So even in the workout groups or a class that you're taking, something good happened in there and you can say, yay, I really feel good about that. You want to keep yourself feeling good and positive. And again, just keep reminding yourself, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. Someone who I booked 5 years ago, I might not have booked them again for 5 more years, but I know that they're good and they're booking for someone else and auditioning for someone else. So just know, like, there's a huge pool of opportunities out there, and just keep putting yourself out there and getting better and better, and something will click.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, great advice. That's something I've needed to remind myself from time to time as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people who have done, you've been through it with me, Jayme. They've done huge animation campaigns for us, and then we haven't booked them again, you know, for years after. Someone just put a big question or comment in there, but Jamie's going to take care of those things so I can keep concentrating on talking to you guys.
Exactly.
And yeah, those of you who have to jump off, do you want to tell them about what's coming up, Jayme?
Yeah.
If they are beginners, if you are beginners and you're intrigued by this.
Absolutely. So for anybody who is thinking about getting into voiceover or wants to get started or needs a good solid foundation, as we mentioned at the top of this, we have a great core Kickstart 3-week-long intensive for voiceover coming up that still has a few spaces left for people. So if you're interested in joining us, it's really great, packed full of fun, lots of good practice, supportive environment. And that starts on January 18th. That'll be on Wednesday evenings. So if you want to sign up for that, you can go to our website at www.voiceprintwest.com and you can register for it there. Then we'll take care of your registration, send you everything that you need to secure your spot and get started.
Yeah, it's only 3 sessions and we designed it that way. And like Jayme said, it's packed full of information. There's this workbook that's you'll use for the rest of your voiceover career, that you'll get, because you don't know yet whether you're really going to click for this with this. Most people do. They love being in front of the mic. So there's many things that eventually you'll want to get to, and that's nuanced reads. Definitely you'll know your voice print. You'll know how to analyze a piece of copy. You'll know when you're at an advanced level how to find coded, I call it word coding, words they've given you that are codes really that help you to make your decisions. You'll know how to breathe properly, and you'll understand how to analyze a piece of copy, and you'll understand the marketing of the spot. and you'll understand that your voice is topping off the emotional feel of this spot. And it's just really cool. Everyone loves voiceover. They love being in front of the mic. There's also a relationship when you're reading that you're going to have with a mic. Sometimes you read past it. Sometimes you'll read towards it. Sometimes you'll read into it. Sometimes you'll like tease it. So the mic has, you'll have a relationship with the mic too, which is when you get more advanced, you'll get into that too. Someone's asking if this class is for kids or adults. We have taken teenagers. It is in the evening online. So, we have had precocious teenagers who like working with adults and can work from 6 to 8 Pacific Standard Time. But also in this core Kickstart, Nick Omana, my partner in this, he actually goes over, you get 2 bonus hours of mic setup, equipment setup, what equipment you should have, how to set it up and all that. So it actually, for 2 of the weeks, it actually starts at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Great. So yeah, hopefully we'll see some of you in our upcoming workshop. And congrats to Linda Montana, who posted in the chat that she booked an on-camera commercial that she can't talk about yet, but is very excited. Congratulations.
Yay, Linda.
Yay.
You go, girl. How's your baking coming along?
Right?
Yeah, we used to have on-camera classes in person. Linda is a fabulous baker.
Ooh, awesome.
Someone said, I missed the site. What is the address again? Jayme will put it in there.
Yep, in the chat for everybody. We got another question that I'd love to bounce to you, Terry. So someone was asking, aside from when you're initially seeking to get representation for voiceover, how often do demos come into play? Like if you're being brought in for a casting for animation or things like that, how often would you say demos are used?
That's a good question. Not all the time. But you have to have one to be ready. And you're taking a shortcut. Shortcuts don't work. If you're not a professional until you have one, because we don't ask you what other things you've booked, like on your acting resume. Basically your demo is here. This is what I can do, and they sound like produced spots. You need a professional to produce it because it has to move along in a rhythm, a professional rhythm that moves along quickly, that has the right music behind it, that has the right rhythms of variations in it. So you do need one, even though you're not asked for one all the time.
True. There are a couple of occasions where sometimes agents or not agents, casting directors will listen to demos if there's a particular thing they're listening for. So it is, like Terry said, it is good to have one.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Now, the great thing is you can start working and you can start auditioning before you have an agent in voiceover. Because besides the traditional breakdown services that you guys who are just entering definitely know about, they're called pay to play sites. One of them that I use when I use it, which isn't that often, is Voice 123. And you do pay to be on it, and you could be so busy with auditions on that you would never have time for anything else. So just be very careful with those, that because they're mostly all non-union, and don't sell yourself short. Never take anything in perpetuity. And I would say, no, this SAG, when you're booked for a voiceover, if it's an on-camera commercial, it's 2 hours. And then after that, they have to pay you overtime, and it's a certain amount that you're paid for 2 hours. So be familiar with the union rates, because you want to stay somewhere around union rates.
Yeah.
I see a lot of hearts on that. Yeah, you want to use it for a reason. You want to audition. You want to get feedback. You want to book on it. You want to get good spots for, a reel that has actual spots on it. And, eventually you'll move off of those. Truthfully though, when I do put something on them, there's many, many, many voiceover talent that I know, and they have agents, and they're on there, and they're going after those jobs too.
Will we have another intro voiceover class later this year? Yes, we will. Actually, if you can't do the January one for any reason, do not worry. We will have more of them coming up. So you can go to that same site, voiceprintwest.com, and you'll be able to see when we post the next available dates. And you can also sign up to be on our email list, because we send out occasional news blasts and things like that with upcoming classes. So that way you can stay tuned with everything we've got going on.
Yeah, we have about 3 of them a year, maybe 4. That's all. Like every 3 months, we have one.
Yeah, they're really great. So I definitely recommend them for anyone who's curious about voiceover. And of course, Terry won't say this because she's wonderfully humble, but I will, because I love her. She's great. I've seen her working firsthand with other voiceover actors in some of these workshops, and she really does care, and she really does go in there and help you find the nuances and the strengths in your voice and give you redirects that helpful. So I definitely recommend her. I know I'm a little bit biased, but also it's
Thank you.
So.
Thank you. What's really cool is after people take this core one and they go into the what's called the IA branding and demo prep workshop, we work on the branding. And there's an additional 4 or 5 hours with that. And when you guys first start, we start a list of you each do your own, and I work with you every week on the characteristics that you've discovered in your voice. And when everyone starts out, they're like all over the place. And by the time, I swear, after 5 weeks, everyone is precise with this long list of precisely who they are. And it's just so exciting when you know who you are voice-wise, and you're confident and you can embrace a read. Because a very advanced read, the way I would describe it, is way beyond a read. It is, you get in front of a mic and you own the message. You own it. And that's really cool when you can get to that point. That's way beyond technique.
Absolutely. I can't endorse that enough, because knowing your brand and your print and the things that you have to bring to the table is going to help you as a voice actor so much more with your confidence and how you approach your auditions. Because maybe when you're starting out, or even sometimes on occasion, other times throughout your career, sometimes we fall victim to trying to be what the specs want, or trying to be what the celebrity references are, and not bringing our full selves and what we have to offer to the table. So being grounded and plugged into you, what you can do and how you interpret the read and bring it, that oftentimes shines so much brighter than when someone's putting on, trying to fit themselves into a box for the specs.
Yes. And this is very advanced talk right now, but I get into what makes your read different than just a read is your particular point of view. And that's really cool when we can get into that. So I think we're just about ready to wind up. Are there any more pressing questions that we're seeing here?
I believe I addressed the ones in the chat. If anybody else has any other questions before we wrap up, go ahead and put them below now and we'll bring them up. Otherwise, we'll wrap up our chat for the day.
And I just click that little X, right, Jayme?
Exactly. But thank you again to everyone who's joined us and tuned in throughout this live. We do like to do these periodically to just connect and check in with people and answer any questions that people have. And once again, our core workshop starts on January 18th. It's Wednesday evening, and you can sign up for that at voiceprintwest.com.
Thanks. Someone's asking about Source Connect. What did they ask?
Someone asked, what would you say to agents asking you to sign up for Source Connect? That's something we can definitely speak to.
Yeah. And I see other people are answering. I love these chats where you guys give information to each other. I know when I teach a workshop, the chat is full of information and I love it. So Source Connect, for those of you who are beginners, there is a way, you know, everything, your final records can be done at home through a technical apparatus, I'll call it, called Source Connect. And it's basically, it connects you directly to the engineer in the studio to put it in very simple forms, language, and it's an industry home read way of being connected to the studio. Is there anything you want to add to that, Jayme, that makes it clearer?
Yeah, definitely. So pretty much it's a way to patch yourself in directly to the person on the other end of it so that you can hear their feedback, they can hear your record and everything. It does not record for you, so you do need to make sure you're recording through whatever you are recording into, be it Twisted Wave, Audacity, anything. But it's really great. Most agents will ask for you to have the Source Connect standard versus now, which is like the freer version. Source Connect standard is a paid version, but it's a really worthy investment, I think. I got it as soon as it started happening with the pandemic and we started moving to remote. And you can pay for a monthly subscription, which I highly recommend because not only is that a better rate, but also you get built-in tech support included in that, which you don't get if you purchase it for the annual. So I definitely recommend that. I recommend also, I know a lot of agents do ask for that, and I do think it is a good investment to have because you don't want to be booked for something that has Source Connect and then you're scrambling at the last second to download it, get it launched, run a test. You want to make sure all of that is smooth and tested out way before your remote session.
Yeah. When we book you guys, we find out what your equipment is. We get your cell phone number, the engineer then, and it's just a matter of usually the next day, the engineer will be calling you to test out your equipment. So there, like Jayme just brought up, there isn't time for you then to scramble and then start getting set up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone said, I thought I was done with expenses. Yeah, we all have some expense. We all have expenses. It's expensive to run a casting service, casting office. There are expenses. You just have to wisely be aware of all your options, weigh them, have a plan, and that way you have control of your expenses.
Definitely. And I don't think you have to drop all of the money at once necessarily if that doesn't work for your budget. You know, you can add and upgrade things over time. I know, congratulations to the person who just did a full custom booth in their walk-in closet, because I'm still booking and recording things out of my closet. I don't have an official booth yet, but it works great.
So let me point out, before there was, for instance, your expensive Source Connect, you had to have demos produced and have stacks of demos on a shelf in your home and pay for the production of the reproduction of those, the plastic boxes they came in, the art direction for the branding on that. You couldn't just put your name. You'd have to pay for that. You'd have to pay for mailing them out. So there's always expenses in any kind of business. Okay. Someone has a pillow booth.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Exactly. Whatever works.
Exactly. So I love you guys sharing information with each other. It's so valuable. And you guys are great. We are a community. We always knew we were a community, but look what happened when the pandemic hit. Like, everything kept going. Voiceover was the first thing. On camera took about 2 weeks for the directors to figure out how the acting community can still be doing commercials. Voiceover, the engineers all started working frantically, found out ways to change the voiceover on existing spots. We are thriving together, and we will keep thriving. So thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
I will press the X now.